So this is my 2011 Nissan Cube. It is by far the coolest vehicle that you can own. Anyways, I'm gonna build it into a really tiny camper. I know it's probably counterintuitive to go from an already small camper and a minivan to something even smaller in a Nissan Cube, but that's what we're gonna do. So that's gonna be the focus of this channel for a little while, is converting this into a camper. I've been talking to some people online about how to do this design. There's kind of a standard way to build a camper inside of a smaller car, like a hatchback or something. So I'm gonna be taking some inspiration from that. So there's some ideas out there. I've been talking to some people about how to design the bed and such, but overall this is kind of relatively uncharted territory. This isn't a standard thing people do. I learned a lot when I was building out the minivan camper, and I'm gonna take some of that knowledge and reapply it to this. I'm gonna do things a little differently. This build is gonna be very, very practical. When I built out the minivan camper, in the back of my head, I always knew that I wanted to sell the minivan camper after I used it for a little while. So I wanted to make it nice on the inside so that it would be resellable for one, and so the next person that used it would actually enjoy being in it. This one I'm not gonna sell. This is over 150,000 miles on it. They have CVT transmissions in them that just explode. They just decide they don't want to work anymore, and that's that. So this thing could putter out on me at any moment. I would feel guilty selling it to somebody. It's kind of freeing to be like, it can be ugly on the inside. I don't care, so long as it's practical. So that's what we're doing. So that being said, I haven't 100% planned out how I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna start with the basics and build around it. So there's three main things you need when you're building out a vehicle that you're gonna be living in, or a camper van, or whatever. Obviously the first thing is you have to have a bed inside there somehow. I have a few ideas for the bed. The second thing is you need a way to get air inside your vehicle at night, and that needs to be able to work when it's raining as well. So one option is a roof vent fan. I didn't put one on my minivan. I'm not gonna put one on this. So the other option is just to put rain guards up so that you can crack your windows at night and let a little bit of air in. So I'm gonna install this today. That's kind of today's project. And then the third thing that you absolutely need are something to cover your windows with. That way people can't look in and see you. Now, if you're gonna be just camping out in the middle of nowhere, I guess it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to block out your windows, but this is the reality of van life. At some point, you're gonna sleep in a Walmart parking lot, and trust me, you're gonna want your windows covered, because that's a little creepy otherwise. So those are the three main things. I guess you could say the fourth thing would be some kind of power system, but that could be as simple as a little battery pack that you just use to keep your phone charged and turn a few lights on. It really depends on how much you're gonna be using it, etc. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put these on, and then we'll hop inside the Cube here and talk about some bed ideas, some of the things I'll be taking out of the vehicle, and etc. So I still haven't completely unloaded my van from the last trip I took down to Florida, which kind of works out because I have some stuff readily at my disposal. So this is rubbing alcohol, and these are paper towels, so you probably knew that. So when you go to put these rain guards up, you want to make sure that the surface you're actually going to be sticking them to is as clean as possible. Yeah, that's pretty gross. There's lots of other videos you can find on how to do this, so I won't spend forever talking about it, but... Okay, how does this work? I get it. Oh, shit. GoPro, stop video. So I should have mentioned this earlier when I was putting on the first window guard. This is really the best way to do it. Go ahead and tack it on, and then just pull the covering off, and then you can go ahead and actually press it down. And then right there, I just filleted my finger on the jagged edge, so do be careful. Got my Band-Aid now, and this is on. All right, now I am not going to put a rain guard on the driver's side. This is for two reasons. Number one, this window doesn't roll down, so it doesn't matter anyways. And number two, you'd be surprised just how much having a window guard here actually inhibits your field of view when you're driving. Because when I first installed it in the minivan camper, I did actually notice a difference when you're making left turns in particular. Like, look at how much it kind of cuts off on that side. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it really kind of messes up your peripheral vision kind of in this area. And that did make a difference. So I'm just gonna leave it like it is. I will admit that it does look a little awkward, but again, this little cube camper is just for me. It's not meant to be fancy, it's meant to be practical. So we're gonna be doing weird stuff like this. So first off, let's talk about the bed. I had a few ideas. I thought about moving the passenger seat up as far as I could, and then I would have had pretty close to enough room to have a bed that would go from just the back of there to the back of here. It would have been a little tight though. I've been talking to some people online, like I mentioned, namely one guy named Scott Phillips. He's done a lot of really cool bed builds over the passenger seat. So I'm actually gonna do that. I'm gonna build over my passenger seat. So let's see what that kind of looks like. The back seats are in the way, so this could lay down a little bit more, but if you take off the headrest here, you can get pretty close to it laying down just about flat. And of course you can scoot it up a little bit as well, make room, and then I'm just gonna build my bed frame over the top of it. So there still should be some storage underneath. I'm obviously gonna be taking out these back seats here just to open up the space. And so I'll have the bed that kind of comes all the way back, and then I'll have storage room. And this is kind of the standard way to build out a little camper inside a car. It kind of works out because then you'll have this storage room in the back, and you can't, this is kind of a blind spot in most vehicles anyways, so you can build up and then have storage. And a lot of times you have to live outside of your vehicle, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think it's a bit impractical to have to get out of your car to like do things like cook and stuff. Which is why when I built out the minivan camper, I was able to completely operate on the inside. That way, if it was raining or if I was trying to be stealthy or whatever, like, it wasn't a problem at all. But I'm gonna have to sacrifice a few things just due to the limited amount of space I have. And like I mentioned before, I have really low standards. So there would be times when I could have actually cooked a meal, but I just ate like dry canned soup or something. So whatever, if it's raining, I'll be fine. I can stay in here, no problem. Anyways, I hate to put my bed on the passenger side again because it's not the best place to put a bed, but you kind of have to in a car camper. If you're building out a minivan camper or something that's in like a box van or even a high roof van, you want your bed to be behind the driver's seat. That way when you parallel park, you can open up the door on the passenger side without being in traffic. I knew that when I built the minivan camper. I thought it would displace weight or something. It was a stupid decision. Just, if you can put the bed behind the driver's seat, do it. But again, we're working with very limited space here, so it's gonna be what it's gonna be. So that's kind of my plan going forward. I might look into how to take out these back seats today. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do that. There's not really any good videos on YouTube on how to take them out that I was able to find. I'll probably just find a conversation board and have to read up how to do it. But I'll probably make an individual video on how to just take the back seats out of this thing, just so if anyone else is curious how to do it. Although I don't think many people will be curious. They quit making the Cube in 2013 because it's so daggum ugly. This is a endangered species of vehicle. Anyways, one other thing to talk about before we wrap this up is the third most important thing you need in some kind of camper build you're doing. You gotta be able to block out your windows. Now in the van I used reflectant insulation and I put fabric over it, and it was super cool and all, but I want to do it differently. I want to do curtains this time. Maybe some curtains that I could roll up or slide over, or maybe I'll do curtains that roll up on like the smaller windows and then a sliding curtain for the back window and stuff. And I'm not going to have a curtain, here, because my bed's obviously going to go up into the front part of the vehicle. So I'll probably have curtains on my front windows as well, and then I'll probably just put reflectant up on the front window shield. But that's kind of my vague plan for how I'm going to block out my windows in here. The reflectant insulation was nice, and I think it actually did more in terms of insulation than just curtains will do, but it was kind of a pain putting them up and down. It'd be nice if it was like already on the windows, sort of a thing. So that's why I decided to kind of go towards the curtain direction rather than doing reflectant insulation again. And then I guess the fourth thing that we briefly talked about is power. So I'm probably going to do another Jackery setup in here. I might try and incorporate some kind of solar power, because for this trip I'm going to be in like the Appalachian Mountains. I'm not going to be that far from home. When I was out west, I was constantly going and driving all over the place. And because of that, I was able to charge off my alternator with no problem. But here, I'm going to be a bit more stagnant while I'm up in the mountains. I'll be taking my time. I'm going to be focusing on video and photography and just kind of being in the moment, I guess. Because I won't be as far from home, I won't feel pressured to go and see everything I can possibly see, you know? So I'm not going to be driving as much. I won't be able to charge off my alternator, so I may need solar. So we might be getting into that. And I know I said I'd probably go with Jackery. I might get crazy and put together an electrical system, because I could always, you know, repurpose it later if this thing ever does break down on me permanently. So we'll see. Who knows? I might actually reach out to Jackery and see if they're interested in doing some kind of little partnership or something. I know they've been pretty good about helping out people even with smaller channels. So, you know, that might be an exciting thing to do. I really liked the Jackery that I used in the minivan. It was a really simple fix for getting power, and it was pretty dang reliable. So they're not sponsoring me or anything, but it's a pretty good, simple option. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I'm gonna mess around with this back seat here after I'm done videoing and see if I can't come up with a way to start getting this thing out. I think this is gonna be a fun build. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of doing YouTube videos. I know this is kind of a downgrade from the minivan, but I think it'll be, I don't know, I think it'll be cool, because it's just gonna be for me, you know? It'll be fun to just do weird, janky things that I feel is practical. I don't know, I'm excited about it. So I'll see you guys in the next video.